Hello everyone, my name is Kirandeep and in this video we are going to learn about presentation skills. So how can we master this art of presentation? Everything, whatever is important to learn, to apply, I will be telling you everything in this video. But first, to start with the video, I would like to ask you one question. Have you ever attended a seminar or a workshop? If yes, then what was your experience? Did you like it or not? Again, if your answer is yes, then I would like to ask one more question. What was that one thing that actually made the whole presentation good for you? What kept you interested? Was it the way the speaker was presenting, was interacting, or was it the content, whatever was presented to you? Or it was the way he was speaking, his body language was. Because all these things play a very important role in a presentation to make a good, impressive presentation. And in this video, I will be telling you everything about it. So let's get started. So let's see what all we are going to see here. We are going to learn first what is a presentation, क्या होती है presentation, उसमें क्या क्या हमें ध्यान देना है. Then why presentation skills matter. What is the importance? Why do we need to have presentation skills? Then key tips to improve your presentation. What are the tips? I will be telling you some tips and tricks to improve the presentation and how to handle questions. Now, it's very natural that whenever somebody is presenting something, whenever they're telling you something, it's very natural for us to have queries, to have questions. So, how to deal with those questions if you are there on the stage, and tips to present effectively. How can you master that art? How can you be perfect at it? So, first is what is a presentation? A presentation is a structured and organized way of sharing some information, idea or thoughts with an audience. So presentation क्या होता है? Presentation एक structured way होता है, एक organized way होता है अपने audience के साथ में कोई information, data या कोई भी ऐसी चीज जो आप उनके साथ अपने thoughts कुछ भी अगर share करना चाहते हैं. So if you have to share some information, your thoughts or some data, you use presentation, PPTs, your slides to share it in an organized and structured way. Then it typically involves a speaker or a presenter delivering content using visual aids such as some slides, charts, paragraphs, or some graphs or pictorial presentation. Basically, it involves slides, some bar graphs, some charts, then some different types of multimedia elements or graph, which makes the presentation much more interactive. Now, next is why is it important? Why having presentation skills so important? So, effective communication. If you are good at presentation, it will automatically improve your way of presentation. Okay, if you're good at this, if you are able to present better, it will automatically affect your communication style because these both the things are very important for each other. So if you're good at communication, you will automatically be good at presentation. So to be good at keeping the people involved in whatever you are sharing, whatever you are talking to them, whatever you have to share with them, you need to be good at communication. So effective communication. Next is professional growth. It helps a lot in your professional growth because presentation skills is needed everywhere. If you think yourself as a leader or in some role which requires a lot of explanations, if you need to take a lot of meetings, you will have to be good at presentation. So if you are good at this, it will automatically help you in your professional growth because then you will be seen as a person who is more reliable, who has that ability to share his or her thoughts, and also to persuade the audience, and this will lead to your growth. Then engaging and persuading the audience. Like I said before, if you have a good presentation skill, it will help you to be able to engage and persuade your audience. You will be able to keep your audience interested in whatever you have to share with them, and also you will be able to persuade them, if you will be able to convince them, and you will be able to make them realize or feel that whatever you are sharing is correct and authentic, if you have that skill, that is presentation skills. Then increased influence, having a good hold on presentation skills, and also if you're good at communication, you will be able to influence the audience there. They will believe that whatever you are sharing is authentic and it is informative, and they will take interest in what in learning whatever you are whatever you are having to share with them. Then that is why it increases your influence on the audience, on whoever you are sharing your content with. Then effective knowledge transfer. Communication, basically presentation skills is used, presentations are used for sharing data, for sharing information. Like we discussed earlier in the first slide, I told you that presentation is basically a way, an organized and a structured way of sharing some data, some information. So effective knowledge transfer is here because it is a way of sharing knowledge, of sharing data in an effective, which is an organized and structured way. Then improved confidence. If you are good at presentation, you will feel, you will see that your audience is interacting with you. They are taking interest in listening to what you have to share with them. They will participate, they will answer your questions, they will give some constructive feedback, you will get a lot of applause. This will help you feel motivated, and also this will improve your confidence. So if you're good at presentation, it means that you're good at communication, and that will automatically add up, it will boost your confidence level. Then enhanced leadership qualities, like I told you here about the professional growth. It leads to professional growth because you are seen as a person who can lead a team. So that is why it enhances your leadership qualities, because you have that quality to give a presentation to so many people, and you are able to, at the same time you are able to convince them, persuade your audience, and that will be seen as a quality, as a leadership quality. So it will help you to open up a lot of good opportunities for you. Then better audience connection. Now we are going to see what are the tips. I will be giving you some key tips to improve your presentation skills. The first one is know your audience. It always starts with knowing the people you're going to interact with. So it is very important to know your audience. You need to understand what their needs are, what is their expectations from you, what will be their expectations from you, of course, and what is their level of expertise. And accordingly, you will have to tailor your content so that you will be able to meet their needs and their expectations. So this is the first and the foremost important tip for you, and do make sure that you first analyze the audience and then then work on your presentation. Then structure your presentation. Structuring, again, if you need to make sure that basically the presentation is divided into three parts. The first is the introduction, then is the main body of the presentation, and then there is the conclusion. It is divided into three things. So structure your presentation properly. Make sure that you always start with a very engaging, very captivating introduction, so that you can capture your audience interest, and then make sure that you include all the important points in the main body, and then you end up on a positive note, that is the conclusion. So structure your presentation and make sure that it is flowing nicely. Then use visual aids. So just imagine, suppose मैंने आपको presentation देने के लिए ये these shapes, I wouldn't have used the shapes and in place of this मैंने maybe paragraphs में यहाँ पे content लिखा होता. So what would have been your reaction to it? Of course, my way of explaining does matter, but Because I have used these shapes and colors in my slide, you are able to pay more attention to it because it is, appealing to you. So that is why it is important that you use visual aids, because this one thing plays a very important role in your presentation. So try to add graphs, and then some, charts, then images, some multimedia. Add all these things in your presentation to make it more appealing and interactive. Then practice. So practice, practice, practice. This is one of the most important, again, one of the most important part of the presentation. That is, you should practice a lot before you actually go in front of the audience or in front of the camera, wherever you are giving a presentation. Make sure that you practice a lot, because what happens is, if you will practice, you will realize, you will be able to understand where are your weak points, and then you will get some time to work on it. So that is why, if you practice and you see yourself in the mirror, you can stand in front of the mirror and then give your presentation, see how, what your body language is like, and how you are behaving, what is, how you're using your hand gestures. Everything plays a very important role. So make sure you practice properly before actually going for the real deal. Then speak clearly and confidently. So pronounce the words correctly. Make sure whatever you have to share, whatever you are speaking, speak it with confidence, say it with confidence, and be very, very enthusiastic, because that your energy level will affect your audience energy level. Then body language. Like I said, body language plays again a very important role in your presentation to make it a good presentation, and interactive presentation, impressive presentation. So body language, what all do we need to consider? What are the things we need to take care of? First is the eye contact. Make sure that you are maintaining an eye contact with everybody in the audience. Don't just you make your eye contact with only one person or two people there in your audience. Maybe they are your friends, they can be your colleagues. Don't do that. Try to be as fair as possible. Try to maintain an eye contact with everybody. Then stand straight, hold your body comfortably, be very comfortable, just own the stage, and then give your presentation. Again, make sure, don't lean on one side, and don't, jitter your legs. Don't try to use unnecessary extra. Don't do anything extra. That is also important. Don't overuse your hand gestures. Don't walk very fast on the stage. Just make sure that you're very calm and very composed, and then give your presentation. Then next is engage the audience. Engaging the audience is important. I asked one question in the starting. I asked that because I know that, oh, if your answer was yes, it was only because you were interested, you were being engaged in the presentation. Maybe that person was asking you questions, or maybe you were yourself very much interested, and he kept the presentation very interactive, and you were answering some questions there, or maybe you were giving your feedback. Something must have been there, and that is why your answer was yes then. So make sure that you also engage your audience once you are there on the stage. Try to ask open ended questions, because that will give you time to think of what you can add, extra to the presentation. And also, it will give audience some chance to take part in whatever you are doing, and they will be able to share their views as well, and that will make them feel more connected to you. So keep the presentation engaging. Do one thing. You can some crack some jokes. Don't worry, even if they are dumb jokes, it doesn't matter. Just make them laugh. Just try to keep them interested. You can even tell some story. You can use some case studies. All these things can be used in a presentation if you want your audience to be interested. Then next is use humor. Like I said, make sure that you are cracking some jokes in between. Make sure that you can also share a life story which is funny, anything like that that makes them laugh. That makes the audience feel good about you, about the presentation, and they, again, it affects their mindset in a positive way. Then next is handle questions. It is very natural for us to have doubts. So, in the same way, the audience might feel that they have some queries, they have to ask something. So, handle those questions calmly, and also at the same time, accept that it is okay to make mistakes, it is okay to not know answers sometime, but make sure you acknowledge them. Then be authentic, be very very authentic, like in case you don't know the answer for a question, just be authentic, acknowledge that and accept that okay, I don't know the answer for this question, but I will definitely get back to you on it. So this will make them feel they are heard and you have actually considered whatever they had to ask. So be authentic and handle questions calmly and easily. Then manage nerves. So what do I mean by manage nerves? So it is very natural for, I guess everybody feels a bit nervous before they are going on the stage. So it is normal, it is completely okay, and you also should accept it that it's fine. If you're feeling nervous, it's fine, it's okay. Take deep breaths and be calm and composed, have water, and then go on the stage full of energy and give your presentation. Then seek feedback. Feedback will help you to give an idea of what was the area where you were weak, and from whom you should seek feedback. You should always seek feedback from people you can actually trust. Don't just go for feedback to anyone. It is not good. Only go for feedback from those people who only seek feedback from those people whom you trust. It can be your colleagues, it can be your mentors or your friends. Ask for their feedback, constructive feedback, and then this will help you to understand what were your weak points so that you can work on it on the next time. Then be prepared with plan B. So in life, this is actually a rule of life as well, that you should always be prepared for plan B, because this is something very uncertain. You don't know when things may go wrong or when it may work out for you. So in the same way, if you're going for a presentation, just just be prepared that if in case there is some technical glitch, if in case there is this presentation doesn't work there, if there is some kind of problem, you can still make it work and you can ace it. So always be prepared with your plan B and be very calm, again very calm and composed. Then time management, value time, because if you value time, the people who are there sitting in the audience will be valuing you and your presentation. So make sure that you are within your presentation is within the time frame which has been given to you, and you are able to provide all the important information within that time. Then ask for open-ended questions. I've already told you that ask for open-ended questions. This will give you time to think of what can be asked further or what can be explained further. And also it will make the audience share their views, and this will make them feel more connected with you and heard. Then do not deviate. So do not deviate topic से मत भटकिएगा. Once you are there, अगर आप कुछ explain कर रहे हैं, make sure कि आप अपने topic, just stick to the topic, do not deviate from the topic, and try to explain more and more about the content, your main topic. Just make sure you are not deviating. Okay. Now, like there was one point, handling questions. So here we'll be discussing a bit more about it. First, let's see how to handle. Now, you might feel that there are some challenges, some problems. Maybe there are some hijackers in your audience. By hijackers, I mean that there are some people who just try to, they want attention. They want everybody's attention. So for that, what they do is that they ask questions way too much. That actually starts interrupting you. So if you feel any kind of challenges, if you are asked questions which is something which you're not prepared for, so what you can do? First, be prepared. This is one thing, you should be prepared. And this you can do is when you are practicing. There was that one tip that I gave you, to practice as much as possible. So while you're practicing, just look for what are the questions, what are the potential questions that can be asked. So if you are prepared, if you're prepared for the questions, you will have answers for it, most of the answers for it. So it will be easier for you. You will be much more calmer while answering those questions. So make sure that you go through the content thoroughly and you are prepared for all the possible potential questions that can be asked during the presentation. Then listen actively. Listen actively and also acknowledge the questions. If somebody is asking questions, if somebody is having a doubt or a query, be be actually there, be attentive, listen to the person, listen to their doubt, and then respond to it, and then actually acknowledge it, right? Then clarify and rephrase. If in case you don't understand what their doubt is, what their question is, you can also clarify it, and you can rephrase the question and then answer it. Then stay calm and composed. Be very calm and composed. This is one thing, this is one mantra that you should actually follow throughout the presentation. That is, stay calm and composed. Be very calm, very chill and composed while giving the presentation, because there will be a lot of instances where you might feel very nervous, and at that time if you have control over your nerves, you will be able to deal with that situation in a very good way, in a good manner. So be very calm and composed throughout the presentation and while answering questions. Then be honest and transparent. Be honest with your answers, and be honest and transparent if in case you don't know the answer for the question. Accept it, acknowledge it, and then definitely reply that I will surely get back to you on this as soon as I do my research. Then encourage interaction. Be open to question answer sessions. Definitely add that kind of a segment in your presentation session where people can interact with you, they can ask questions from you. And on a positive note, no matter how the presentation goes, it if it ends well, goes well, there is a saying like that. So make sure that you end on a positive note, always end on a good note. That will leave a lasting impression and a good impression on your audience. Then, what are the tips to present effectively? First, know your audience. Like अभी हमने डिस्कस किया था, आपको जरूर पता होना चाहिए कि what kind of audience you are going to deal with, what kind of people will be there in your audience, and what is their needs, what is their expectation, and what is their level of expertise, and then accordingly tailor your content. So always start with a strong opening. So if it is said, it is a lot of people say that the audience makes up their mind in the starting, in the beginning of the presentation, which is the first 2-3 minutes. They make up their mind that if they actually want to listen to you or just be physically present there. So make sure to hook them up with your introduction. You can start with a very thought provoking question. You can start with a good quotation. Even you can start with a joke or a story that will that captivates them, and that actually makes them interested to listen to you. So always start with a good opening. Then have a clear structure, have a good flow. Make sure that your presentation is having a smooth flow. It should have a good impressive introduction, then the main body, and then a positive conclusion. Then use visuals wisely. Make sure that your presentation has visual aids, which is basically the charts, then some pictures, then tables, and then there is some multimedia used in the presentation. Make sure you use all these things. Then speak clearly, confidently. Don't be nervous. It's okay. Do deep breathing before going on the stage. And then once you're there on the stage, then ace it. Own the stage. Be very calm and composed, and accept that it is okay to make mistakes. Everybody does that, and it is completely fine. And then make sure to give your 100% there. Then use stories and examples. This will keep the audience engaged and interested to listen to you. So make sure that you are using some stories, some real life examples, that so that the audience is able to relate with you and connect with you. Then limit text on slides. So there is this one simple rule: 5 sentences per slide, 5 words per sentence. You can follow this rule. Make sure that it is not overloaded with everything. Suppose this is a slide and you have paragraphs and paragraphs on the slide, then there are pictures, then there is table. Don't do that, because that will mess up the whole, appeal of the slide. So make sure that you are limiting the text on each slide. Then interact with the audience, keep it very interactive. The more interactive your presentation is, the more the audience will feel connected with you, and that will leave a very good and positive impression. Then be prepared for question. So do your research first. Good research is very, very important factor. And also then be prepared for all the potential questions that can be asked once your presentation is done. Then end with a strong conclusion, impressive conclusion, a positive conclusion. Make sure there is a good conclusion to your presentation, and be calm and composed, as everyone feels the stage fright. So it is common, it is very natural, and everybody feels the stage fright. Everybody feels the fear of being the center of attraction. So make sure that you are calm and composed, and this is possible if you have practiced well, if you have done your practice, if you have done your research, and you are prepared with the potential questions, and you know how to handle the questions throughout the presentation. And also if you know how to control those hijackers, what you can do is you can make them the center of attraction, and that will keep them in control. So if you know all these tricks, then you will be able to handle the presentation, the session perfectly. So with this, we have come to the end of the video, and I hope these tips and tricks were helpful for you. And you found this video more and more informative. Do share it with your friends. Thank you.